Hey, what is up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you. If you were keeping up with my videos that I was uploading yesterday, I was uploading the WWE's Royal Rumble 2017 pay-per-view preview, going through every match by match, and I think everyone could probably see that I ran out of gas. I uploaded a video for every match besides for the actual Royal Rumble match. And I'll be 100% honest with you. The reason why there is no video for the Royal Rumble until now is because I honestly don't have a pick who's going to win it that I really feel confident in. I thought that honestly when I was drawing up the plans for the Royal Rumble months ago, I thought this was a slam dunk that Cena would win the Rumble. And Cena would go on and face AJ Styles and win his 16th championship at WrestleMania. Instead, Cena comes back and challenges AJ Styles to a match at the Royal Rumble. And that sort of has thrown everything out the window. I sort of was thinking that Undertaker would return, come back, he'd win the Rumble, and then he would face Cena at WrestleMania, and I would get that WrestleMania dream match of Undertaker versus Cena. I don't really feel 100% sold that Cena's even going to win his match against AJ. So I got to look at the field and see who else is out there. Today I post a tweet and basically say, I don't know who's going to win the Rumble, and this is one of the first years that I don't think I'm going to be able to pick the Royal Rumble winner. In years past, I picked Triple H last year. I believe I picked Roman the year before. I know I picked Sheamus the year that he won. I picked Del Rio in 2011. Honestly, to me, Edge was a real big surprise in 2010. But, you know, the Rumble has always been something that I've always been pretty well able to see what's going to happen. I look at the online listing at WWE.com. As of right now, I believe they have 23 superstars listed as participants in the Royal Rumble, leaving 7 mystery slots, which might be filled by guys that are on the roster or might be filled by outside guests. Today, the spoiler, or not really spoiler, but tonight, the mystery was solved with Kenny Omega basically saying that he was to stay with New Japan Pro Wrestling for at least one more year, and then next year was going to look at his options to see what is going down. He really wants to win the heavyweight championship, and New Japan sort of set a goal and be able to follow through with it. Kenny Omega took a chance after he was released from WWE to basically move to Japan and start in a very small wrestling organization, basically start all over and get retrained, and has built his way up to being one of the most, best wrestlers, leading the Bullet Club and wrestling in one of the best matches I was going to say the best match of 2016, but obviously it happened on the 4th of January. So it's easily, unless, I don't really even think that match is going to be forgotten about the way people talk about it, probably the best match of 2017. And one of the first shows of the year, setting the standard of what great wrestling is going to be. You have to live up to this to even to be in the discussion of having the best match. Kenny's not going to be coming in, and he's not going to be doing that, so he's one mystery guy that's down. Of the mystery people that is out there, I've made videos talking about Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Samoa Joe, Ty Dillinger, lots of different people that I think might have a shot to be in the Rumble. And honestly, of the people that I think have a shot to win the Rumble, the only person that I can really think of is Triple H coming in and winning it. But then how do you get to Seth Rollins winning the championship to have where Triple H is facing Seth Rollins? Then why would Triple H, as the number one contender, want to fight Seth Rollins? Well, I guess he'd want to fight him to get the title off him, thinking that he's the one who has to do it. But even that doesn't even really make sense. To me, the biggest names that are in the Rumble this year are Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, and Undertaker. I think that easily you can draw the lines between Brock and Goldberg are going to have another match at WrestleMania. It's cool that they're building up the Royal Rumble by using them, but I think they cancel each other out. That you pretty much think that they're not going to win. Maybe you give it to Goldberg as like keep the last hurrah going, and he beat Brock at Survivor Series. Now he wins the Rumble, but then for them to have their match, you got to put the title on Brock somehow. And just the same way that we were talking about, how do you put the title on Rollins a second ago? How do you put the title on Brock? We know that Roman is more than likely going to beat Kevin Owens at the pay-per-view. So do you just have a match at Fastlane and Brock beats Roman? But then how do you even say that Brock is the number one contender coming off the last match he was in? He would have lost at Survivor Series. So that doesn't make sense. So I don't think Goldberg's going to win. Brock winning means that Goldberg... Brock winning means that Goldberg has to find a way to win the championship. People have said that I'm sorry, I keep fucking this up. People have said that Bill Goldberg is going to fight at Fastlane. I think that the arena has posted it on their Facebook as well as their Twitter, trying to pump up ticket sales that Goldberg's going to be there and he's going to be wrestling. So if Brock wins, does just Goldberg get to beat Roman at the next show? Or do you have it where Kevin Owens beats Roman Reigns at the Rumble, and then Bill becomes the number one contender out of thin air? He fights Kevin Owens and he gets to beat him. At least that sort of has some back to it because of the fact that Goldberg and Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had their little segment on Raw a few weeks ago. So at least maybe that has something built up. When you look at the rest of the field that is out there, honestly, to me, Braun Strowman is somebody who's been built up on Monday Night Raw. I think of him a lot like a guy like Gene Snitsky, a guy that's going to be built up only to lose and never be built ever again. To me, Braun Strowman is being built up to sort of pay back Sami Zayn and get Sami over. Sami got a big win against Seth Rollins. Somebody had to beat him, and it made more sense that if it was a babyface versus babyface match. I know that they don't really like to do those, but because of the fact that Seth Rollins got beat by a guy that I guess you would consider his friend, it stabs him in the back even more. But to me, Braun Strowman's probably going to get a spot in the Rumble where he gets to dump some people out of there. But I think Sami's the guy who's going to come in hellfire, go right after Braun, and just beat him. And I don't really believe the stuff about backstage heat on Sami Zayn, that he's, I think that Sami is a great performer. I think he's a great wrestler. All around, I honestly think he's a great guy. And I don't work there. I'm not backstage there. But I just don't see any truth to that rumor at all that people said that Sami was out to get Sami over. I think that Sami's going to get 10 guys over before he gets himself over. And that's just the kind of person that he is. From there, Baron Corbin is somebody that they've been building up on SmackDown. He was the face of the Royal Rumble for a little bit after he threw his name in the hat. But then he went out and he lost a match to John Cena on SmackDown. Just a normal match on SmackDown. Got beat. To me, honestly, that knocks him out of contention. I know that you could say that that sometimes they make people lose to let them win down the road to set up matches down there. Where if Cena beats AJ and Corbin wins the Rumble, well, that doesn't make sense either, because Cena just be able to say, I already beat you once, I'll beat you again. Maybe in the past, if Corbin would have beat Cena in that match, which I really think should have happened. Ambrose got to beat him on TV. I don't know. Ambrose is your Intercontinental Champion. I'm really surprised that he's not having a match against a guy like Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler's a guy that's being built up on SmackDown, super kicking the king. He's been fighting with Kalisto. He's been fighting with Apollo Crews. He's got a whole new attitude since he's gone heel, and he's this bad guy now. I really thought they were going to do Ziggler versus Ambrose for the IC belt, and I was ready to blow my lid about how we don't believe Ziggler to be an Intercontinental Champion anymore after the fact that, he had that run with The Miz and then lost the championship so fast, and it was like it didn't even really matter to him. No big deal. To me, honestly, the sort of, pace they have Ziggler on, if they wanted to get more of a reaction out of him, they just should have had the guy sort of disappear. Have the guy just flat out fucking quit and go home. Give him like a month or 2 months off of television. That way when he comes back, then he can have this badass attitude about being this bad guy. And it makes a lot more sense because of the fact he can come back and say that, nobody sent him fan mail. Nobody, pleaded with him. Ziggler, you got to come back whenever we get to see you on television. He just became a normal guy and he wants to come back and he wants to prove himself that he can really do this. Jericho, honestly, is a guy that I do believe has a shot to win the Rumble, especially if they're going to keep on with this whole thing with him and Kevin Owens soon building to a feud. Jericho could move to the forefront of the group with Kevin Owens losing the championship to Roman Reigns, and Jericho and Owens can sort of bicker back and forth about who's the top dog of the group. Jericho now being the number one contender. Owens, is he going to have his back the way that Jericho had Owens' back through all that time of saying at least we're the champion if one of us is the champion? Jericho took a back seat. There's been a couple times when he's sort of tried to push himself forward and trying to make himself look better than Kevin Owens, but for the most part, Jericho's been a pretty damn good friend. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. And then the rumor that I heard today from two separate people, when I sent out my tweet about not knowing who was going to win the Rumble, people were saying that the odds-on favorite as of right now, that the word on the street is that Randy Orton is going to win the Rumble. Nothing would bore me more. That sounds like a horrible deal. And then, basically they would have the chamber match for SmackDown, where they would have, I'm guessing Cena and AJ Styles would be locks. Bray Wyatt would be in there. I could see them putting Randy in there at the same time, even though he'd be the number one contender if he won the chamber. But they do shit like that. And then, two other guys to fill out the damn thing. And Bray would win the championship, which would be honestly a really big surprise. When they put these two guys together, I really thought this was an angle that was going to last 2 weeks. And then they would break up because of the fact that they paired together out of the middle of nowhere. I thought it was just Randy trying to fuck Bray Wyatt and pull one over on him. Instead, he really got with the group. He never really took the look of the Wyatts, but he basically became a member of the Wyatts. Fought for Bray Wyatt's love by, going after Luke Harper, trying to move himself to the front. But then out of the middle of nowhere, they lose the titles on SmackDown to American Alpha and sort of become, it is what it is, nothing. And to me, if they want to have Randy versus Bray, it seems like a match that would happen on any other pay-per-view. If they want to do it on WrestleMania, I don't know why you put it as the World Heavyweight Championship match. I know that it's the SmackDown B brand. It's not going to be the main event. It's not going to be the co-main event. And I think this is honestly a year that the Universal title isn't even going to be a big match on WrestleMania's card either. It might be like the third or the fourth biggest match on the card, but it's nowhere going to be near the top, and it's not even going to be debated if these matches are going to go in the main event slot. They're just going to be, it is what it is. Kind of like what WrestleMania 33 is turning out to be. But then again, you're looking at somebody who said WrestleMania 32 was going to be one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time. So, as of right now, the guy that I'm picking to win the Rumble is still The Undertaker, unless you take a real big mystery surprise of somebody that's not even named on the list. I think there's too many guys that just cancel each other out or have lost matches and lost a lot of steam. And it is what it is. Taker versus Cena looks like the most valuable option for WrestleMania 33 to be not only a big match, but it looks like to be a World Heavyweight Championship match. Undertaker showing up on Raw the past few weeks. I know that they wanted to build up the Lesnar versus Goldberg feud, and they sort of had the Undertaker break up the fight before it happened. So it doesn't make sense that he'd be winning it and then taking that to SmackDown, basically. But I don't know. It is what it is. And we'll see what it is, and I'll see you guys down the road. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the Rumble.